Now we have this topic of design linked incentive scheme. Design linked incentive scheme, it is in the context of semiconductor chips. For the detailed analysis of semiconductors chips, that why government of India has almost given a great budget of roughly about $8 billion to this sector research and development and setting up within the next 5 years in India, and why the car industry has felt the shortage of chips productions because of many reasons in different parts of the world. So you can refer to that video, so you'll get a broader idea. So talking about this section here, the Ministry of Electronics and Information, that is MeitY, has invited applications from 100 domestic companies, startups and SMEs to become a part of the design linked incentive scheme. Along with it, IT Ministry has sought proposals from academia, startups and MSMEs to train 85,000 qualified engineers on semiconductor design and manufacturing. So it is basically within the same context of Government of India investing $8 billion approximately within this R&D and infrastructure development for the production of semiconductors in India, right? So why, what are the reasons? You should refer to that video first, then only you can understand this. The sudden surge in demand of chips and semiconductor components. Sudden surge. Why the sudden surge has come? Because of the production halted due to COVID. Right? Many disasters have taken place in many countries where the big supplies coming from countries from companies like Samsung and other companies in areas like Texas, Dallas, and then issues with the production companies, like they got shut in Taiwan because many issues there in the countries. So because of that reasons, the demand could not match supplies of lately, and therefore the car industry has felt the major supply glitch. And also due to COVID, many people were forced to work from home, so that is why the demands of laptops, webcams, microphones, the writing pads and many electrical gadgets have certainly surged. So this is why, and all these equipments demanding these semiconductor chips installed in them for their working mechanisms. So that is why this has led to the massive growth in the demand, and hence the supplies that was already very stagnated, it got disrupted because of many reasons like disasters, many reasons like this COVID shutdowns and other issues in different areas and different parts of the world. That is why this demands for this semiconductors has seen the sudden surge for the components. So, and only a few countries has underpinned the need to establish a robust semiconductor ecosystem in India. Only a few, because in India that ecosystem is not favorable because it is a very capital intensive sectors, right? Now, what are the challenges in making semiconductors in India? The major challenge is that more than 90% of global companies already have their R&D and design centers in India, but they are not making them in the fabrication units where the production can be started. So the dreams are shown, but it is not realized in the Indian context. That is the problem. Now, setting up fabs is capital intensive, as I said. So it is capital intensive. But here, the capital is the major issue in India and needs investment in the range of $5 billion to $10 billion. But Government of India has promised to invest $8 billion over the period of 5 to 10 years. Right? Now, some chip fabrication technologies to be adopted needs government clearances as they fall under licensing categories because of their specification, their uses in defense sectors and other fragile sectors. So hence this licensing system is playing as a drawback and a hurdle or kind of a tapeism on this sector's growth here in this context. So that is why again this is an issue. Next we have lack of investments and supportive government. policies are some of the challenges to be set up fabs in India, right? Because in India, as you can see, that election is going on in India in 5 states of Punjab, Goa, UP, Manipur and Uttarakhand. So in this era, when you see that if the companies are thinking of making an investment, then they are waiting for the results to come, because there is the government change, then policies are changed. And what sort of incentive and what sort of support they are getting from the government, it highly depend on them. So the major companies are reluctant to make an investment in countries like India, where many issues, for example law and order situation, for example the governmental ordeals and the blockades are there, for example many NGOs and other local issues are there. So that is not a great healthy environment for the business to develop and to bring in more new investments. And also the tax system in the country, sometimes it is seen as the retrospective effect. Sometimes it is like post facto law. Like after the laws have made, then you retrospectively you can implement them, like in the case of Vodafone. That brings in the litigations. So it is not giving the positive image or the strong image of India as a great investment region. So you can see that where the problems are lying. Now, what is the design linked incentive scheme? The DLI scheme aims to provide financial and infrastructure support to existing and global players for setting up fabs or semiconductor making plants in India, right? This is the major objective here. Just a second, let me just make some space here. So it aims to provide financial and infrastructure support. It aims to nurture at least 20 domestic companies involved in semiconductor design and facilitate them to achieve turnover of more than 1500 crores in the next 5 years through this robust investment of around $8 billion in India in this sector. Then CDAC, that is Center for Development of Advanced Computing, a scientific society operating under MIT, will serve as the nodal agency for implementation. The scheme has 3 components, that is chip design, infrastructure support and product design linked incentive and deployment linked incentive, right? So that a comprehensive implementation can be ensured where the design is homemade and infrastructure support is there. And this design linked is basically, it's like an adaptation of India's production in vibrant sectors in the world. For example, electronic manufacturing, IT manufacturing, car and other automation industries. So this is basically the design linked product scheme. Now countries like US, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Israel and Netherlands are the major players who are dominating this chip business in the world, and chips are manufactured largely by Taiwan and South Korea. And what happened in Taiwan, and this because it affected the supply system, the chip making factories are a large space factories, and these large space factories needs to be very neat and clean. So the cleaning water is highly required for making or keeping the premises absolutely clean and dust free. Otherwise the chips gets freeze, or like they are not used and they are an expensive item, and basically it works as the central nervous system of the machine. In this manner, Taiwan actually felt the shortage of clean water. So because of this less availability of clean water in Taiwan actually has stopped the production of these chips. It is a reason which is not imaginable. Or so these are the factors that has led to the shortage of the supplies of these semiconductor chips from these players like US, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and this has felt given a great shortage of the products that are being assembled after this installation of the chips, and therefore the prices of many products like car industry and this computer products and the electronic gadgets has increased due to the shortage in the supply of this area. So this scheme in this context is highly important. So this is we just wanted to discuss in this video. Thank you.